Hey guys, Brandon with Flyin Miata back for another FM Live. Today we are going to talk about timing and how timing can go wrong and what happens when your timing belt breaks. Short version, not that much on a Miata, but there are lots of details in there. So as always, you guys have questions, drop them in the comments. We'll try to get to them live. If not, we'll get to them after the fact. So quick overview on timing, and we're specifically talking about cam timing today. We're not going to talk about ignition timing. So cam timing is the relationship between your crank and your two cams, which is done by your timing belt. So when your crank spins, timing belt goes over here, drives this cam gear, and comes back because it's just one big loop. What that means is the pistons go up and down, the valves go in and out. So how can the system go wrong? So you can skip a tooth, which is going to, these all have to be in time very carefully, which is why, shameless plug, we use our Ninja tool here that locks the two cam gears together. You can see it's got a mark in the tool that lines up with a mark on the cam gear. Same over here. So you know this timing is all correct. This is also strong enough to torque the bolts down to factory spec. If you're a gorilla, you could break this tool. But and then obviously you've got to make sure this guy is lined up as well. So how can things go wrong? You could skip a tooth. So if you skip a tooth, you're going to make your cam timing different slightly, which means that your cams, which side is this? Your intake cam and your exhaust cam might open at a slightly different time based on when the piston is coming up and down than what Mazda intended. And you can play with that to manipulate your power, particularly if you have an adjustable cam gear, or Mazda's already doing it for you with the variable valve timing gear right here. So you can tweak some stuff, but generally speaking, you want to match up all your marks, so you don't want that to happen. So that can happen if your tensioner is loose, so you don't have enough tension on the timing belt. That can happen if you get debris in there that maybe there's something that kind of goes in here and makes something hop over. It's really not that common, but it'll happen here and there. The worst thing is, is that your timing belt breaks. So that can happen. The most likely culprit is lack of maintenance. So change your timing belts. We like to do them every 60,000 miles. That's what Mazda recommends, unless you're in California, I think. But basically, every 60,000 miles is the right choice. I won't even say the conservative choice. You're not running up against the ragged edge there theoretically, but I would do it every 60,000 miles. So if your timing belt, how can your timing belt break? Mileage. Also, if a bolt is not tight, we've actually seen it where a bolt backs out and just wears through the timing belt, and then eventually the timing belt fails. And now what happens is that your pistons are still moving up and down, but your valves are held in this position. So you can see that right here, I believe this is max extension. The valves are actually sticking out of the head. So if you get an angle here, you can see that it's protruding from the head, right? Well, on the pistons, as they go up and down, and I probably should have spun this so that one of the pistons was at the top, but they have recesses for the valves, just for clearances on everything. But the short version is that what that means is that on a stock, unmolested engine, and we'll get to the details there in a minute, what that means is that when your timing belt breaks, not a whole lot happens. Your pistons keep going up and down. Your valves are stationary. This can be catastrophic on an interference engine. Ask me how I know. But on a non-interference engine, it doesn't matter. Your timing belt breaks, the engine doesn't run, you call a tow truck, you get it home or to your mechanic shop or whatever, put a new timing belt on it, and go on your merry way. You might want to figure out why it broke, because that is unusual. But point being, there's no catastrophic things that happen in there. So what all NA and NB engines stock are non-interference engines. So again, that means exactly what I just said. That doesn't mean that your NA or NB Miata engine is a non-interference engine. So if you have fancy pistons that are high compression, they're going to protrude more. So now they may interfere if things are not timed properly. If you have oversized valves that are bigger diameter, same thing. High lift cams, same thing. If you shave the head or the block, now you've moved those pieces closer together, so the likelihood of them interfering is greater. So basically, the really short version is if you've done any of those things, you want to clay everything when you're putting it together to make sure that you have your interference, or make sure there is no interference, make sure you have your clearances correct. And if your clearances are correct when the engine is timed correctly, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a non-interference engine, because again, if things don't move in proper time to each other, they could interfere. So the short version is most people are fine, because if you're not doing something weird, it's going to be a non-interference engine. Do your maintenance, and it's just a complete non-issue. But even if your timing belt breaks, you're probably going to be fine. That's pretty much it. Really, it's pretty straightforward. Let me check my notes here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Yep. Here's another thing that could change it. If you have adjustable cam gears, and usually they have kind of lock bolts that keep them together, because there's an inside to the gear and the outside, so you're able to move it a little bit like this to adjust the cam timing, kind of like this does automatically, or with the computer. If that slips, then you can change your timing, and if you have enough travel in there and you have, you've got oversized valves, you've got high compression, whatever, that could slip to the point where it interferes with the piston and you have a problem. So, okay, so we got a handful of questions ahead of time. Let me go through this. Is this even a big deal since the NA and NB are non-interference engines? Will this cause any damage to the engine or other components since it is non-interference? Yep, no. So the short version, A, do your maintenance so you don't have to worry about this. B, if you have a stock engine, no, it really doesn't make a big deal. It's annoying to get stranded on the side of the road. Nobody wants to, but once you get dragged back home to your shop, get a new timing belt on there, you're good to go, no big deal. In the real world, how often should a timing belt be changed? 60,000 miles. I would do that. If there's a lot of oil seeping out of the front of the engine for some reason, then I would examine it, and if the belt is saturated in oil, I would probably replace it earlier. Outside of something like that, 60,000 miles. How do we check the timing belt? How often should we be inspecting the belt? 60,000 miles. Unless you see some kind of evidence, again, of oil leakage or weird noises coming specifically from the front of the engine or something like that, it's really not a thing that you really have to worry about. I will also say that oil saturation is not good for the belt, but in order for it to be bad enough to really cause a problem, you're going to see a lot of grossness on the front of the engine, particularly down at the bottom where it kind of all comes out right here. So you can kind of keep an eye on that spot. If that's really gross, then you may want to take some of these covers off to investigate and see what's what inside there. When in doubt, replace it, but they're hardy things. The timing belts just are very durable. So, how common is it for the belt to be a tooth off? What are the symptoms? How to check? Are you using our Ninja tool to set your timing? So if you're using our Ninja tool, then it is still possible for the timing to be off. This is really straightforward. It doesn't mean it can't be used improperly. But again, you've got those marks there, really clear. As long as you're doing that, you know the cam gears are correct. What you don't know is whether the crank gear is correct or not. There is a notch in here. It is not correct now because I can't actually see that notch. Yeah, it must be on the bottom. But anyway, so you need to make sure that these are timed together, easy with the Ninja, and then these are timed to this. So you got to make sure all the marks are right. Take the tool out, spin it over twice because they're only going to line up every other revolution, and then check it again and make sure it's all correct. Follow-up question, is it possible for it to be a tooth off? No, or half a tooth off rather. No. Sometimes it might not line up perfectly, and you want to go with the closest one, particularly after you have spun it over 1 5/6 turns, tensioned it. So real briefly, this mark over here, this mark is TDC, and that's your timing mark to line everything up. This mark, that may be hard to see in the dark there we go, is for tensioning it. So you want to do it 1 full revolution, then bring the crank mark over to here, then loosen this bolt, let the spring pull it back, don't add any of your own tension, tighten this back down, and then it's time. So if it's half a tooth off, it may just be a tension thing. So do that, then spin it over another 2 1/6 turns, I guess, and see if your marks line up better then. Okay, I did kind of skip. What are the symptoms of the belt being a tooth off? You might not notice, but generally it could be it feels really weak down low, but a little bit stronger up top, or vice versa. If the power should not feel any different when you do just a normal timing belt. So if your car actually feels any different after a timing belt, something has happened and you might want to go check it. How to check? Look at your marks. That's all you're doing is, again, making sure all these marks line up properly. And again, every other revolution. So if you spin it around and line up one of the marks, and the other ones don't match up, that's okay. Do it one more revolution and then check. Okay, what happens when the timing belt breaks? Not really anything on a stock engine. Again, non-interference. Feel like we've gone over this. Is it worth getting a heavy-duty race timing belt versus OEM? Do they squeak? Are there any other downsides? So the biggest downside is going to be cost, because I believe they're quite a bit more expensive. You'll notice we don't sell any of those belts. We sell a high-quality Continental belt. It is what we've been using on every Miata engine that we've built for an extremely long time, regardless of the power output, and they work very well. We've seen no indication of stretch, no indication of premature failure, or really failure at all, honestly, outside of, oh, my bolt backed out, so it was actually machined off. So, no, we don't use the racing timing belts because they don't really seem worthwhile. Use a high-quality belt, you're good to go. Do they squeak? I don't know, because we don't use them. So, frankly, I'd be surprised. But I don't know. Is it possible to break the timing belt or chain on the NC and ND cars? Anything is possible. Does seem to be very unlikely. I don't know that I've heard of a single situation where the timing chain has broken on an NC or an ND. So there's that. Will this grenade your engine? Well, grenade is a very broad term. Will this cause interference between the valves and the pistons? I actually don't know 100%. On the ND, I think that's very likely because it is a very high compression engine. On the NC, I'm actually not 100% on that answer, but let's try to avoid it. But again, kind of a forever thing. Unless you're in there futzing with stuff, you're probably not going to have to worry about that. If your Miata is out of timing, will it cause extra strain on the belt and cause it to wear or break prematurely? No. So if your Miata does have an interference engine and it's out of time far enough to cause an interference, then that could damage your timing belt, but you're going to have much bigger problems before you have to worry about the timing belt. So we're going to say no. No, I mean, basically, it's just still spinning. It doesn't really care how it's oriented. The timing belt itself doesn't care. It's just spinning. So, no, it makes no difference to the timing belt itself. Okay, and that is the list of questions we had ahead of time. What kind of questions do we have now? Nothing?
Nope.
Okay. Yes.
Real fast, what other maintenance items would you recommend when changing your timing belt?
Good question, Travis. So what other maintenance do you do when you're changing your timing belt? Our complete timing belt kit has everything that you need and we would recommend. So that is your cam seals, your crank seal, your valve cover gasket, on an NA, your O-ring for the cam angle sensor back here. I feel like I might be missing one or two things. So that is what the timing belt kit entails. We generally recommend doing a water pump while you're in there because it is, I mean, you literally have to do a timing belt job to get to the water pump. If you want to be conservative, I would do a water pump every time you do a timing belt. If you're trying to pinch pennies, you can probably get away with every other, but be aware that you may be doing a timing belt job just to change the water pump, even though your timing belt is fine if you push the water pump to every other. It's your call. You know, if you're paying somebody else to do the labor, it's probably not worth the risk. If you do the labor yourself and you can knock out a timing belt in an afternoon, sure, save yourself some pennies. So there we go. So that is it. I hope this was informative and you guys enjoyed it. If you have questions after the fact, drop them in the comments. We'll try to get to them. If you have suggestions for videos, let us know. We're always looking for ideas. If you like this, do all the social things, the influencer whatever magicalness. Subscribe, follow, like, all the things there. And stay tuned because we will be back next week for another FM Live. Thanks, everybody.